بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم. Allah Tabarak Ta'ala has created man in a world which is a combination of two opposites. And if we understand this, then many a time when man gets sad and irritated and angry, and what we find which goes against our tabiyat, suddenly you'll start looking at it in a different light. See, the world is a combination of two opposites. Combination of two opposites means that the one part of the world we like lot, but the second part which we don't like, if it's not there, the part that we like also won't be there. So example, the world is made up of day and night. So everyone in the world likes day, because everything you can see, you can enjoy. No child ever likes that night must come, because night according to him is it's spoiling my day. When night comes, you tell him go sleep. When night comes, it becomes dark, it becomes dangerous. But had there been no night, then the enjoyment of day would never have remained enjoyment. Bidhiya, Allah Tabarak Ta'ala said we could have made it, everything was day. Who would have brought night then? Bilaylin taskununa fi, because now your body is looking for the rest. Suddenly you don't get the rest. When there's no rest at night, then there's no day after that. So the enjoyment of the day was only attained through something which man himself never liked, night. But had that night not been there, where he was finding enjoyment in the day, he wouldn't have found it. So that's one example. Then there is a combination between man and woman, boy and girl. Every father, when he wants to get the news of his first child, for some reason he just wants a boy. It must be a boy. And the mother also wants a boy. And everyone wants a boy. But if there was boys and boys and boys, and the opposite was not there, that girl which perhaps they never want so much, then the enjoyment you get in boys also you won't get anymore. That entire system will go haywire. That there will be boys and boys sitting, but that one mother, she'll have to look after all her sons now, because she'll want to get them married, but there's no girls in the world left. After she desired only boys, she's the only woman left. That man himself, a time comes in his life where he needs a girl. And every girl, there's a time in life comes that she needs a boy. Each person perhaps had desired one of the two. Many a time a girl might think, if only I was a boy. وَلَا تَتَمَنَّوْا مَا فَضَّلَ اللَّهُ. Allah Tabarak Ta'ala says, never ever think what Allah has given him, I wish I was. The woman were thinking the men are so lucky. The man thinks women are so lucky, they don't have to go out in the cold. Each person thinks the other is very lucky. Almighty Allah says, don't bother of the other. You rather carry on making dua to Allah to give you Lord good also. But that combination of opposites, day and night, boy and girl, so those we can understand very well, that combination. Then there is that combination of the rose and the thorn. That bush of roses, the gardener would always say, I wish I could take out the thorns. But the part that you don't like was needed for the preservation of the rose bush. If the thorn has to come out, then the rose bush goes. It came with it and it has to stay with it. So the enjoyment of the rose could only come with the thorn. In this world, no one likes death, everyone likes life. But you will only enjoy life if death comes with it. Because if everyone has to be living and no one dying, then suddenly this world will become too small for everyone. Then those who are living will wish they can die. So the enjoyment of life will go away if there was no death. The enjoyment on health, which man says, I wish I was always healthy. We only enjoy health because we tasted sickness. Had man never tasted sickness, he would never enjoy. You know, many a time, for long we don't get sick. You forget what it is to be sick. You forget what it is to have a sore in the gum. It is only when that sore goes away you understand how easy it is to eat. So every difficulty Allah Tabarak Ta'ala put in life, why? To make the enjoyment enjoyable. Had that combination not been there, the whole system would collapse. So we will see many a thing in life, and we will desire, I wish it went this way. But Almighty Allah had desired it going that way. In my understanding, if everything went straight, I would reach the destination very fast. Almighty Allah has understood that in things going this way, against my direction, I will reach my destination. And if everything had to go how I wanted to, I'll never reach my destination. When everything goes well, man would have thought, I'll make so much shukr to Allah. But in Quran, two examples were given. One was given of Firaun, that he never saw difficulties. But when he never saw difficulties, the time came where he could not believe there could be a creator greater than him. So all he could say is, Ana Rabbukumul A'la. Why? Because he had never seen difficulty which made him look up to another deity. He had never seen sickness. So where his road was so easy, all he had to do was say, Alhamdulillah. He had everything. And if he had to accept Iman on Musa alayhi salam, he would not have lost his kingdom. But what prevented him? He never had a thorn in his life. Because that one thorn was not there. Had there been another king who had seen difficulty, when Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam's da'wah reached Abyssinia, then from the kings that accepted Islam, this was one. Forgot his name now. Najashi was the title. Most likely was Ashama. Because later on, the Najashi who came later on, he refused to accept. But this one accepted. And he was the one that hosted the Sahaba radiallahu anhu. Then he passed away after that. So they write in his tarikh that the reason why he was so ready to accept was that he had a very difficult life. And there was a great plot to have him killed. And then he was taken to an island and abandoned. And there was a long incident of how he came back to his land. And like a miracle, he came to the throne. Because he saw all the difficulties, so many thorns. So when he sat on the throne, he never sat like a proud man. So when the da'wah of Islam came, it was the thorns in life that made him reach the highest places of Jannah. Whereas the other kings never saw difficulty. So now when the da'wah came, this was a thorn which they never wanted. Had there been a thorn before, it would have made everything easy. But because there was no thorn at the beginning, the whole structure collapsed. So many a time you will not like something in life which is called difficult. But it is because of that difficulty which will open up all the doors of ease. Had the difficulty not been there, perhaps everything would become difficult. So whenever in life you see difficult times, then you must think of this verse, Asa an takrahu shay'a wa huwa khayrun lakum. So a lot of times we look at that verse, that you dislike something perhaps, but it is better than you, for you. So we look at it in the immediate second, that how can this be better for me? But وَهُوَ خَيْرٌ لَكُمْ can many a time have the meaning that go a few years down the line, and you will understand, had this problem not been here today, you would not have seen what you were going to see later on. The whole thing would have collapsed. The one was Firaun. Ana Rabbukumul A'la. The other example Quran gave us about Sabah. Sabah was that group of Arabs that Allah Tabaraka gave them everything. So Yemen became their hukumat. Sabah was actually the name of the king. It was his laqab. Because he had taken everyone under him. Everyone submitted. No one could stand up against him. So like how we have the meaning Ghalib. So that word Sabah was given to him as a title. Then he made that kingdom Sabah. Then Almighty Allah explains what and what favors He gave them. That their gardens used to just give and give fruits. And the water was flowing in all directions. Baldatun tayyibatu. What a lovely land Quran mentions. And what lovely winds and what lovely everything. And then they built that dam which was called Iram. So as the water would come now from the mountains, then it would gather in the dam. And the dam would see to the needs of the entire land. وَرَبٌّ غَفُورٌ. And then they were able to establish what was called mansions or huts or inns along the road, because Yemen and Sham, they combined their roads. They made such a road that In every stopover there was an inn, and the inn was going to give free food and water, and a place for the animals. So there was no difficulty at all. Everything was looked after. The road was secure, the road was enjoyable, there was fruits all over. It was like a sign of Jannah. So which reason Quran mentioned Jannah, called it Jannah also. But what a garden this was. Baldatun tayyibatu wa rabbun ghafur. The problem was, in that lovely garden, what they were missing? They were missing a thorn. Had there been any difficulty in their life, then fa'aradu, Quran mentions that after I gave them all the pleasures, the result of everything going well is, man then forgets his Allah. And they went the opposite. They started saying, why we have all these enjoyments? Is it how nice it would have been if life was tough? Is it how nice it would have been if the roads were longer? There was little difficulty in life. That's the problem. When good times come, then man, instead of becoming more shakir, he becomes more obstinate and more even. Had there been no thorn in the life of man, his entire structure would collapse. So in life, whenever you see difficulty, then you must just think of the rose and the thorn. That the rose bush will only survive as long as the thorn remains in it. And if I wish to remove the thorn, the entire bush will collapse also. The entire bush will collapse. There are those plants in the desert. So the desert doesn't give lot water. So if an animal has to eat them, then they're gone. Because that's their survival, that little leaf is storing little bit water, and with that the whole plant is surviving. But if one animal has to now come and eat that leaf is the food for the rest of the plant. The plant got no water to get its stuff from. So that leaf suddenly takes out a thorn. Because of that thorn, now the animal won't come and bite it. So the thorn was a survival of the entire. Had the thorn not been there, the whole structure would have collapsed. A man looks in the mirror. وَلَا تَتَمَنَّوْا مَا فَضَّلَ اللَّهُ بِهِ بَعْضَكُمْ عَلَى بَعْضٍ. Quran says, never ever look at somebody else and says, I wish I was him. I wish I was him. Had you not been you, you would not be surviving. That whatever you don't like in you, it's because of that you are surviving. Asa an takrahu shay'a wa huwa khayrun lakum. A person who's fat looks in the mirror, says, I wish I was thin. That's how it is. Someone who has children will look in the mirror, he says, I wish I never have children. Because a woman normally who gives birth, what will happen? Her body becomes bigger and bigger. So she will look and say, I wish I had no children. A woman with no children will look and say, I wish I had children. The one who got one will say, I wish I had the opposite. The one that got one child wants a second. The one that got a boy wants a girl. Everyone you ask in life, whatever they got, they're looking for the opposite. Which makes it so funny, like, if only man could understood what you got, that's good for you. Asa an takrahu shay'a wa huwa khayrun lakum. But in the system that we live in, because of what has been called an advert, a lie, man looks and he starts thinking that there is something real on the other side. When adverts were not in the world, we were not wide like this. And you will see it many a time when you go in villages. In villages, you will see the sheep and the goats and the cows all walking on the road. And you wonder, no one steals them. Whereas each sheep and goat is worth 2,000 to 2,500. But they walking, the children are laughing. No one steals one cow, one goat. Why? Nothing was advertised. But in the advertised world, like our world, you'll see us driving on a highway. From the highway, one sheep is walking on the side. You'll see the man open the window, he'll pull the sheep in. They do it. Even that one sheep on the highway can't survive. Why? What's the difference between the two? One saw a world of adverts. So his desire has been created. I want something more. Something more, something more. And the man in the village, there's nothing more I want. I got it. So you ask him, you're not stealing that sheep. He said, what am I going to do with another sheep? Got so many here already. He doesn't understand, go to the bank and just bank it. There's no bank for him to put it in. He's not going to go sell it. So because we live in that world of adverts, there was a time in life, however a person's body was, he was happy with it. If the body became fat, he would pat his body and say, this is the sign of a good life, like this happiness of Iman. He wouldn't be exercising, trying to lose that 1 more kilo, let the stomach go in. But then suddenly a world came of adverts. In the world of adverts, every man who saw it, he grew up thinking the best wife is a thin wife. And not just thin, but very thin. That girl understood, for me to be loved, I mustn't be normal also, I must be extra thin. So everything in her went in. Whereas one time in the world, people will say, you like a stick. But for her, that was an honor. The more thin she could be, the greater my husband will love me. But she will fall prone to sicknesses very fast because she got nothing within her. When the child is born also, she won't manage to look after the child. But everything will be okay because in her mind, as long as I'm thin, I'm okay. But can you survive that? So we were on a Dastarkhan and one person was explaining about the operation they do now, where they remove that fat. And he explained how it works and no side effects. So then what I said to him is that no side effect story is because the doctor told you no side effects. That's all. Who saw it? So I told him, I don't understand this, but I can tell you so much. That normally a system, if a woman is, when she gets married, she must get children. So after 1 child, 2 children, 3 children, and the doctor tells her, you know what, the 4th child will harm you. So every woman likes to hear that there, because now stop. So to prevent the 4th child now, she will do something in the body. And she will ask the doctor, I want to do that which got no side effects. So obviously he's going to show something because he has to make his money. He will show perhaps the one with the least side effects, but he can't guarantee no side effects. Because the system of the body moves in a normal pattern. So whatever he has to do now is he's changing the highway. So I explained to them that you say on the highway, how the traffic is moving. Normal. But suddenly there's an accident that side. We don't see that accident. But because of that side they close the road, all the traffic comes over here. Suddenly this whole thing gets clogged. Someone will say, but what happened here? I say, nothing happened, no side effects. The side effect was that side. The body of a woman such. So I just told them, if you prevent a 4th child coming, you will look for the side effect there. You say, no side effect. Suddenly you will start getting headaches. And you won't know why I'm getting these headaches. Because when you closed one thing, it has to start somewhere else. That whole system. So I just told him, I believe this thing about becoming thin. I said the system of the body is, if the body could lose weight, it will lose. And some people stay thin all their life. And some people's body picks up because it's the system of their body. And if you try and do anything against nature in that body, you will get your result obviously, but it will have its side effect also. Because it's unnatural. So then I asked him that what's the purpose of a woman wanting to lose weight? So is it that she's unhealthy, or is it that she doesn't look nice? So if she's unhealthy, you have to define the meaning of health. So the meaning of health is, if a woman is fit, she is not lazy. She's doing the work in the house. Then whether she got a slightly bigger stomach or smaller stomach, it makes no difference to her health. Rather, the more children a woman gives, the more her body has to come out. And many of those women lived for very long, many years, and they had no problem. They were called healthy, fat women. So fat never made them unhealthy. Then comes to, are you attractive if you thin or fat? So that got to do with the eye of the husband and the eye of the looker. If a man grew up thinking thin is smart, he will never find his fat wife smart. But if a man never saw a thin woman, if he ever has to see someone thin, he'll say, you like a stick, you. Put on some weight. But what are you? It all got to do with the mind. So I said, if only man could come back to what is natural. But that would only happen if there's no adverts. If there was no adverts, what man's car is, he will remain with that car for years. But why he changes his car every 3 years? Because of an advert. The advert will show him something that you don't have, which you don't need, but because it looks nice, so the man will go for it. He got a phone. That was all he needed to phone. But the advert came out. When the advert came out, he started believing, I can't do without a new phone. So his life went. In this world of adverts, this ayat was now taken out. Asa an takrahu shay'a wa huwa khairul lakum. That many a times you will say, I don't want this. But that is your salvation. That is how you have to go. That is how you have to accept. And if man can see this ayat, Asa an takrahu shay'a wa huwa khairul lakum, then we only have two conditions in life, shukr and sabr. And unique it is, that had Almighty Allah only asked for shukr, there would be no shukr left also. Because if everything was going well, as I mentioned, man would have become the biggest kafir. You only make shukr because you have days of sabr. That's why. A man for 7 months, he never finds what he's looking for. When he finds it, his whole life changes. So my friend, we were sitting and he mentioned that when he graduated as a optometrist, so he worked with one person, and then things were going well, and suddenly that boss told him that, you know what, I'm going overseas. So it's like, suddenly your heart is broken, because this is your job. Now where am I going to get a job now? And it was that time 911 where Muslims were not liked. So he started going for interviews at other places. And everywhere, even Muslim people told him, because of the beard and the kurta, my customers won't want to come and see you. So shocked to optometrist, finally he's sitting at house. So his mother shouts him. Says, you wasted so much years of studies, go get a job. But can't find the job now. How bad you feel. That if that man never decide to go overseas, and while he was sitting at home in that 8 months, and someone phones him one day and he says, I'm going for Umrah, but I need a locum, someone who can run my practice. But you don't find optometrists who are ready to locum. And because he had no job, so he said, if you'll come over to this town 2 months, for 2 weeks. So he said, no problem. He went there 2 weeks, he did the thing. When the man came back, he was impressed. So he said to him, I want to open another practice. So if you want, we'll go half-half like. But he had no money. So you work, and you're working for me, and you're paying off practically. And soon a time comes where you become the boss, and you are partner. And life changed, his whole life changed. So he's just telling us, so he just mentioned that, had I not lost my job, I would never have become my own boss. Had I not lost my job, I would still be working for someone today. But what it was, Asa an takrahu shay'a, that man needs a thorn, sometimes a prick, and then the entire bush is created of roses. But if that thorn has to be removed, the entire thing falls to the ground. So when you see difficulties, this is that sabr. That, oh Allah, I am looking at a thorn. I find it difficult, but I know it's good. This is our sabr. I find it very difficult, but I know it's good. That will be that sabr where there will be no complaint. That will be that cry where I'll cry with the tear, but I'll never complain against you, O Allah. That I know there's good in it. All I will say, that afiyat is so nice, O Allah. When will ease come? This is that sabr. And when that sabr will come, you will see your roses will be created. Asa an takrahu shay'a. Whenever you see difficulty, think of this ayat. Then look at the night and say that the night has made the day enjoyable. And the day has made the night enjoyable. If everything had to be going how I wanted to, nothing will go how I wanted. The whole structure will collapse. If everyone had to live, the structure of the house will collapse. If everyone had to die, the whole structure will collapse. This is a world of opposites. As long as the opposites are there, if I'm healthy, I know I must get sick. And when I get sick, I feel bad about it also. But I make sabr saying, oh Allah, you understand that this is best for me. In a world where everyone likes to see everything clean, had there been no insects, there would be nothing clean after that. But when that cockroach comes out, no one likes the cockroach, you want to kill it. But had the cockroach not been there, there would have been diseases that would have killed all of us. They were that pulled it in. They were rats, they were mice, they were that vermin, they were that dirt. But had they had not been there, everything else which is clean would be dirty. So that is there. I don't want to go toilet because it looks dirty. But had that toilet not been there in life, then there would have been no enjoyment in life also. Because a few days that entire system would become filthy and dirty. and I would have died. So every difficulty is the cause of all ease. When I see that difficulty, I look at it and say, wow, Allah, how you made it. Asa an takrahu shay'a wa huwa khairul lakum. Allah grant us understanding. Remember this in life, wherever you will go. Because wherever we go, one thing when we see is, everyone is sad. No one is happy. Every house you sit in, every meeting you get, people are just sad. The rich are more sad. The richer are even more sad. You sit with a person, so he said, I want this, and I'm going for holiday. We say, he's so lucky. He got this year, he's going, and free ticket, and free place, and so much money. And the same person then sitting with us, and he's telling us, the other day I went to the doctor because I can't fall asleep. Same person. So I want his holiday, but he got no sleep. Same person. How come? Because this world, the richer you are, the more the problems. The more thorns it seems are in your life, the more enjoyment. And the person hasn't got it. He's not going nowhere. He's sleeping nicely. He got no fikr. He got no worry. The more you got, the more the worries. The less you got, the less. But it's got to do with the thorn. If you can see the goodness of every thorn, in the injection of the doctor, there's a lot of benefit. But that small child, he sees the needle, isn't it? And the mother, she sees the medicine. So she will be ready to tell her son, sit! And he'll scream. And no mother likes to see her child scream. But she will say, take the injection. Because she never looked at the needle, she looked at the medicine behind the needle. In life, don't look at the thorn, look at the rose around the thorn, and you will see whatever comes in life. You will say, Asa an takrahu shay'a wa huwa khairul lakum.